conservatives known as the Tea Party. So that's, okay, bickering then is petty arguments, petty disagreements.
Yeah.
And partisan means what exactly? What does partisan mean? You know, Dima?
Oh, but I don't know what does it mean. Maybe it's a play of the word. The partisan is a popular fighter, and partisan is a member of the party, or one of the party.
Oh, that's interesting. That might be part of the origin of the word.
I was just thinking that. I've forgotten about the word partisan as a noun.
Yes. I would say that you're right. It's a proponent of a particular position, and in this case, a party position. I'll have to do a little more research on that. So that's months of political, that is partisan bickering, just what we've been having in Congress. Okay, Kostya, do you know?
No, I haven't any idea.
Do you know what a slinky is?
No.
I'm going to go ahead and video Professor Marston.
Okay, it looks like Vlad may have a link there as well. So look at the YouTube, if you will, that the link that Professor Smith has put in the chat, and then go ahead and click on it, and watch it. Oh, Vlad, it was a toy of your childhood. Oh, I'm happy to see that.
Excellent.
Well, this whole expression, put a slinky on an escalator and see if it goes forever, is the subject of the YouTube video. Watch a little bit of it. After a minute, you can skip the, you can just click on that link and it will take you there. And the first thing that happens is the ad begins to load. But you'll be able to click through that. In the bottom right, you should get skip an ad. And so it takes a little while to get this warmed up. Okay, I hope that you have been able to get the general idea of what a slinky is. And Vlad, was that the same toy that you had in your childhood? Did it look like that?
Yeah, it's a kind of similar toy.
And was it made of metal or plastic?
It's metal with plastic.
Okay, so you're between me and what's in the video.
Yeah.
In my childhood, we had altogether metal spirals. And I did this same thing with my big brother to help me when I was a kid. It was a big deal to go to a place where they had an escalator, because back in the Dark Ages when I was a child, there were not many escalators, especially around, I don't think there were any in the small town where I grew up. So, now you have an idea of what a slinky does on an escalator, and the task was to see if it goes forever. For Americans, this is kind of an iconic toy that everybody plays with. Did you ever do this, Professor Smith?
Only down stairways, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The escalator meme wasn't ever anything that we had. But I join you in remembrance of metal slinkies. I think my daughter had more plastic or some space age material.
Yeah. So, Dima, did you have a slinky when you were a kid?
Yes, I remember this kind of toy.
And Kostya, what about you? Did you have one of these when you were a kid, or did your children have them?
No, we have one.
Well,
it's a new toy.
Well, that is all it does. What you see is what you get, as they say, and and you might actually see that written. So if I can type it, I will. What you see is what you get. It's also called WYSIWYG, and that is an internet term or an internet age term. What you see is what you get. That's all there is to it. That's another way of saying. It is not a big question to bicker over. And so, what makes this funny? If this is a metaphor for U.S. political situation, why is this funny?
I think it isn't funny because the decision of Congress and the agreement with President, it is not a final decision.
Yes.
They only write some number, some cifra, some zero to a huge to a huge American debt, and that's all. They didn't make nothing, and they only put in long case.
Yes, they did not decide anything significant, really. And so it's not really funny, I agree. But on some level, it has kind of a very dry, sarcastic kind of humor. What they agree on is something very trivial. So, let's see. There's another political cartoon. And so, Dima, can you read this?
What kind of?
Okay, it's the cartoon whose tab is called Cherry Tree.
Cherry Tree, yes. If he can't fly his way out of this he has no future in politics.
Okay, so can you describe what you see in the picture?
So, if so I think that there are two men, probably one old man and one is young, and probably he is it's a son of an old man, and broken tree. So probably they discuss something about the tree.
Yes, okay. So what does the boy have in his hand?
He has I don't know. I don't know how to translate.
X.
Yes. Okay. Any American who looks at this is going to immediately know who the boy is.
George Washington.
Yes, good.
And who is it?
Well, the importance of culture.
Yeah.
Because as Professor Marston said, we had the experience of learning that George Washington chopped down, and do you know what kind of tree he chopped down, Konstantin?
Sorry?
Do you know what kind of tree George Washington chopped down?
A cherry tree.
Cherry tree, exactly. And every school child hears this story, and this is, as I said, a perfect example of a cultural piece. Every American child will look at that and say, that's George Washington. He chopped down the cherry tree. And what did he tell his father about that? Do you know the rest of the story, Kostya?
I don't know if he said in the past, but today, on this pattern, he decided that his son have no political future because he can't lie true.
Yeah, so there's the clue. He told his father the truth. He can't lie. He chopped down the cherry tree, and the famous quote is, "I cannot tell a lie." And what a perfect example, Professor Marston, of cultural knowledge.
Well, I really love this picture. And incidentally, his father isn't necessarily an old man. He is simply a man dressed in the style of the time. So he has stockings and short pants, and his hair is probably powdered so that it will look like he's an old man, and it's tied back with a ribbon, as is little George's. So George was in trouble, but he had a good political career anyway. As a matter of fact, if my history lessons don't fail me, they asked George to be king of the colonies. And George says, no, that's a terrible idea. And but he was famous before he was elected as the first president. Do you know what he was famous for?
Now you're stumping even me.
Oh, really?
Well, am I going to know this when you say it?
Yes. What brought him to the attention of all of the colonists? Oh, I didn't mean to ask such a hard question. He was a famous general.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
General Washington.
General Washington, yes, led the colonists to victory over the terrible British. overlords.
I heard that George Washington took part in the European war, but I don't remember, at 18th century. Is it true?
George Washington went to France for a while. Now, I can't tell you for sure whether he helped Lafayette. Probably not. I don't know. I'd have to check on that. He might have. There were some Americans. Let's see. The French supported, and correct me if I'm wrong here. The French supported the American colonists against the British, their traditional enemy. And famous among the French was the Marquis de Lafayette, and he came and brought troops and money to help the Americans. And then just a short time later, during the French Revolution, there were some Americans who went to help the French revolutionaries, and their famous statement upon arrival, and this story could be apocryphal, was that Lafayette, we are here.
But he fought in American continent, But
Right.
I heard that he was, I don't know exactly, but he fought at I don't remember, 7 years war between Russia, Prussia, I don't know.
Prussia.
Oh, yes. Which we call the Franco-Prussian War?
No. It was at 18th century. During maybe our emperor was maybe Elizabeth, maybe Catherine.
I think these are the Silesian Wars, is what we call them. The 7 Years' War in English, right?
Oh, yeah, 7 Years' War, and that's what Custer said at the beginning. Okay, well, I bow to your knowledge because I don't really know that. That's the trouble with being so far away from my basic history. But I do know the commonplaces. So I'll have to follow up on that. He had to get to his practice in being the leader of an army somewhere, and that seems like a good one. So you got me, Kostya.
That's a great phrase that Professor Marston used. I'll have to follow up on that. Meaning she'll research it later. I use that phrase quite a bit.
It's one of those things that you say after, I don't know.
Usually in my case it means I don't have a clue, but I'd like to know.
Yes. Okay, so now I'm looking at a cartoon, and on the tab it's 120702. 120702. And let's see. I hear a chuckle. And so, Kostya, I'm going to ask you to describe what you see in this picture.
I think that Areta confessed the guy's family. He agitates for guy's family, and the two men that stand behind the curtain. They're afraid that voice of how he said, white collar people. He lost his vote. but maybe he echoed the gays votes. I think so, because in Russia, white colors, it's colors of gays.
Oh, okay. So this is
homosexualist.
Oh no.
No, it isn't.
Oh,
But
oh no, it has quite another meaning.
Very good job. White color
Oh.
was speech to the blue colors. Ah, colors.
Ah.
It's I confused that colors цвет and colors воротник. The part of the clothes.
Oh yes, and I am wearing today. I think I get that because what the kind of sweater that I'm wearing today has a high neck with a rolled collar, and in English we call this a turtleneck, but in French it's known as a gooseneck.
A gooseneck.
A gooseneck sweater.
And here I'm wearing a shirt with a collar. This would be known as a button-down collar because you can literally button the collar here.
But
and in fact, I'm wearing a blue shirt, so it's actually a blue collar.
Blue colors, it is workers, and white colors is managers, engineers, maybe.
Yes, management, leaders, accountants, engineers. Yeah, very good. So today I'm a blue-collar worker.
So he was confused the auditory. He decided that he make his speech for high class, and he lost the voice of blue colors.
Yes, his audience, we might say, rather than auditory.
Oh,
Audience.
It isn't funny. My variant was better.
Oh, oh, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's what we might call a wild.
In Russian, blue it's a color of. I confuse color as a part of the clothes, and color like a color of rainbow.
Oh, collar with one L and collar with two L's. Collar and color.
Ah.
And is the difference between these words in pronunciation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Collar, the thing that's on the shirt is called collar.
Yeah.
And the colors of the rainbow is color, or I should maybe do color. Collar and color, a subtle difference. And that's why spelling can help on this. So, so the politician has made a terrible mistake, and so you see the audience. Look at the people in the audience. Vlad, can you describe some of the people? That person, for example.
Yeah. This guy looks dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Kind of angry.
And how do you know he's angry?
Because His face, tell me.
Okay, the expression on his face.
Yeah,
And what
and his hands crossed.
Yes, he has his arms crossed in front of his chest. That's really a rejection. Okay, and let's see. What about this person? Can you describe that person? Dima, can you talk about that person?
Probably, I think that audience, these people look like they are very surprised by the speech of this person. Probably they are not friendly, but they don't understand why is he speaking by this way. Because I think that usually person who politics who speaks with white collars, with managers, they usually say that they are going to wallet. So they are going to fire workers. So I think that it's like a method of managing of problems companies. So I think that this person and other people are very surprised by the speech.
Yes, I would agree. Surprised and angry. You can see, as you pointed out, Vlad, this person's eyebrows are frowning. And there's another person with sunglasses who really looks angry too. And this guy with the striped shirt. So all of these people then are blue-collar workers, and so can you tell me okay, in a minute we're going to talk about what political views this group is likely to have, but first I have one other question, and it's about the speaker. Now, I want you to put this person in a Russian context. Is that gesture something that you have seen, something that you have recognized in Russia?
Yes, where have you seen this?
Like Lenin.
Like Lenin.
Yes.
And what Russian word do you always think of when you see that pose? Period.
And Zhirinovsky too.
Yes.
And Mr. Zhirinovsky too. That frightens me a little bit, but
I have to confess that I don't remember about Zhirinovsky.
Can
anyone
speak
tell
a little
me
bit
about
Mr. Zhirinovsky
and how his name might be written in English?
His name is Vladimir. It's a Russian political clone.
sometimes known, Professor Martin, as the clown prince of Russian politics.
Oh yeah, I thought that might be him. I've heard of him.
Is he from is it the Liberal Democratic Party?
Yeah.
Right, which is by Western standards neither liberal nor democratic.
Yes, well, we're having some trouble with our names too, so I can appreciate that. Okay, so the audience, we're told, are blue collars. And traditionally, in America, people who are blue collar workers are likely to vote Republican or Democrat? What do you think?
Democrats, I think.
Democrat. Okay. That would be traditional. The white collar workers then traditionally vote for which party?
Republican Party.
Yes. Okay. So you can see why the politicians' aides are so upset. Good God, he's giving the white collar voter speech to the blue collars. Oh no!
Professor Martin,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you refresh my memory? What the main difference between policy of Democrat Party and Republicans? Why? Yeah.
Use both sides of the paper if necessary.
Yes. Okay. So I'm actually, you anticipated my next question. So let's take one strong difference, and that's economic policy. Okay. So blue-collar workers are going to have one attitude towards economic policy, and white-collar workers or people who have more money are going to have a different point of view. So let's pretend, for the sake of argument, that our politician is discussing economic policy. What is he going to have to say about taxes if his message is aimed at white-collar voters? What will be
like
the what will be the position the politician takes on taxes? Okay, if you've been following at all the topics that we define here between the Republicans and the Democrats, the Republicans have a position on taxes. There's a traditional position that they always talk about whether or not they do it. No cynicism here. What are they always going to say about taxes?
Sorry, could you repeat your question?
Okay, and you might look in the chat. What is the traditional position Republicans might take on taxes? Are they in favor of increasing taxes to pay for the government operations and the government promises, or are they do they oppose taxes? Okay, this is a major distinction between the parties.
But who is who? Who stay for reducing of taxes and who stay for its increasing? Last lesson I decided that Republicans want to reduce taxes, and vice versa for Democrats.
Yes, it's always unpopular to talk about increasing taxes. So you're going to find some language that that's about paying for our obligations. That you're going to hear that out of Democrats, and you're going to hear about our social responsibilities. That's going to be from Democrats. And Republicans have often campaigned on no new taxes. And the wealthy shouldn't have to pay for the poor people. Let them carry their own load. Those are going to be things that you hear out of the Republicans. And so I will make no bones about it. If you haven't gotten it by now, I'm a Democrat. And so to answer Vlad's question about who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, I'm always going to say the Democrats are the good guys, although sometimes they muddle everything together. The most famous definition of the Democratic Party was from a famous early 20th century comedian named Will Rogers. And he said, do you know what he said? Have you ever heard of Will Rogers? He said, I don't belong to an organized political party. I'm a Democrat. And that's funny.
I thought you were going to use the Groucho Marx quote, I wouldn't belong to any party that would have me.
Oh, yes.
Which in some ways stands for the Democratic dilemma now, too, I guess.
Yes. I'll put that down, too.
Yeah.
But it's strange that poor people and workers and that's why they are against the increasing of taxes. The increase of taxes is new programs for all society. For example, Obama's health insurance program and maybe other. Of course, if the taxes paid for war, for army, it's waste of money. But for health, I don't know why they're against Democrats.
Well, let's see. The history of healthcare, we could actually go on and on and on about. It was first proposed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a president before I was born. And over the years, we did get Medicare, and that's medical care for the aged, like me. So I have health insurance now that is run by the government, and also Medicaid, which is health care for the poor. run by the government. And most Republicans oppose this. And I forget the number of people that do not have health care in this country. Health care.
30 million.
30 million. Dang, that's a lot of people.
I believe that's the number I heard on NPR this morning.
Oh, good. You're really good at those numbers. We're going to let you do the numbers.
To be the number of guns registered in Texas, right?
Yes. Okay, so we have health care. The Republican, health care currently is health care insurance is big money. And healthcare is not, for most people, is handled through people's work. Employers offer health insurance to their full-time workers. People who work part-time, that is, less than 30 hours or 35 hours, do not have health insurance, period. And so there are 30 million people without any health insurance. Medical care is very expensive in this country. And so if you don't have health insurance and something is wrong with you, you go to the emergency room. Because the hospital emergency room. And there you can get, let's see, what do they call that kind of care? Acute, something like that. Can you help me, Professor?
Acute, yeah. It's got to be acute care of some sort.
Mm-hmm. So if you have anything long-term that's wrong with you, they will give you something to, we would say, patch you up.
What does mean acute care?
Emergencies care. It's not помощь. You're at a hospital, no, it's a скорая помощь. It's a immediate need for care.
And acute care, it's the same?
Yes, although acute care is usually at a hospital. So if I were to translate the phrase скорая помощь, I'd probably say first aid. Помощь, aid, is a good translation. When you come to the hospital, then you're in an emergency room, for example, that immediate, very critical care, perhaps some sort of heart attack or trouble breathing or a gunshot wound, that they would give you some care at the hospital. And I don't know if Russians would use the word skорая помощь if you were in a hospital. First aid usually happens out in the street, out in the field, out in the woods. But when you get into the hospital, we use a more high-style word, which would be acute care.
So this is the sorry state of healthcare before Obamacare, or for the Affordable Health Care Act. And that is the Obamacare is opposed by Republicans. Opposition to Obamacare is funded by big money. One of the notable opponents are the Koch brothers, who have given millions of dollars, literally paid millions of dollars to prevent Obamacare.
And this is another case where what you call something gives us some insight into your politics. So this program that has been proposed and is operating by the U.S. government is actually called the Affordable Care Act, as Professor Marston said, although many Republicans refer to it as Obamacare, and usually you say that with a sneer.
And actually, this package is the healthcare package that is being instituted now is a watered-down version of a program first proposed by a Republican think tank. Lots of things to talk about here, called the Heritage Foundation. Mitt Romney.
That name rings a vague bell. Where have I heard of him?
Yes, who was the unsuccessful Republican candidate who ran against Obama, was governor of Massachusetts. And he instituted, his plan was called Romneycare. And it's been in place for several years now. It's very successful. But Romney had to say, oh yeah, I had something like that, but it was really awful. And so he didn't lie very successfully about that, and it is in place in Massachusetts. And Republicans have had something like this, which they said was a good idea until the Democrats began to advocate it and push for it. There was a big attempt during the Clinton administration to improve health care, but it was largely defeated. Oh, okay, so I think that because there are only 3 of you today, that I'm not ready to have you do the debates which were assigned for today. And so we are going to keep those on the assignment for next week, as well as the interpreting exercise. So you will have a little time, a little more time to look for that. And and to work on that, prepare for that.
Maybe as we're finishing up, Professor Marston, I could ask a question of our Russians.
Sure, go ahead.
Who can help me understand, as the American government became very close, got closer and closer to financially defaulting, to the financial crisis, what was the view of Russia? What did the Russian people think, and what did the Russian government think and say about this event?
I thought. Can I try to answer?
Yes, Dima, go ahead. Perfect. Yes.
Yes, I heard different versions of it, but I think one of the most popular in Russia was that it's like a specific American show, so that the compromise will be found. It will be found by the American politics. So I think in Russia, most people didn't believe that default may be ruined. Maybe really.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. It was sort of like a standard American show.
Yes, yes.
You expected that we would find the result maybe at the last minute.
At the last moment, yes, like it's like a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
At the last second.
Yeah, and in fact, we were a little late, right? I think when the president finally signed the bill, it was after midnight. Am I correct, Professor Marston?
I think so. We're pretty close to it.
Yeah. And what was Mr. Putin's government worried or supportive? What did the Russian government think about it? Can anybody tell me that?
I didn't hear that the government discussed this problem, so I
yeah,
didn't hear something about it.
Because all of our finances are interlinked globally, of course, but the Russian financial picture is very good, right? Didn't Russia pay off all its debt some years ago? Russia does not have a lot of debt in the world, and so many countries were very concerned about the debt markets. So countries that owed a lot of money were very concerned that this debt market could collapse. But Russia was really not that concerned. Professor Marston, they have a very good oil and gas production phase, and if I'm not mistaken, about 5 years ago, literally paid off all of their debt.
Wow.
I heard only about from Russian government that they said that we are ready to crisis, so
right.
we are not afraid. And I think we had a lot of internal problems in Russia, so such as after наводнение, so it's on the east of Russia, and so it's necessary to solve these problems very fast. It was necessary, so probably we didn't discuss, government didn't discuss American problem.
So Vlad, I'm looking at what you put in the chat. Do you mean until or as long as we have oil and gas, there's no reason to work on this? So unless, you mean unless until and not until. That's okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
And this is a very good point. It would be a much bigger crisis for the government of Russia if the price of oil begins to fall. So they were not concerned about the debt markets. Russia is not in the debt markets. Russia is more built around oil and gas, and that's very important to the Russian government.
We pay debt, but Russia has a huge debt of corporations.
Say that again, Kostya.
Russia don't have state debt.
Right.
But there is a huge debt of our corporations, like Gazprom, etc.
Right. So you have and what type of debt is that?
Sorry?
So the government is in debt to the corporations, or the corporations are in debt to the government?
I don't know. Corporation make their debt directly without government, but our government supports their debts, and they are responsible for them. So the issue of debt is very, I don't know, discussed.
Right, and so many governments have a close relationship with their major industries, right? So this is true in Russia, this is true in China, this is true in many countries around the world, that the government will give a subsidy, is a word we might use.
And once more, our observers, I don't know, but I guess that they said that it's only warning. USA only white word about possible default, and today it is not in interest. I mean, the United States don't interesting in default today, but after some years, for example, 5 years, 6 years, maybe so, they can to announce about their defaults, because the internal their debt is huge, and they can say they have not enough money, they can't pay. So
yeah, yeah, and it's a very important. Yeah, it's a very important point, I think. So the Russian government does subsidize Russian industry, and I believe that's true of basically all governments, I believe. So in the United States, Professor Marston, we subsidize industries as well, correct?
Yes, we do. And of course, then there's the bailout situation.
Yeah.
So on the federal level, we strongly subsidize the interstate road system, and a lot of infrastructure money goes into making sure that the interstate highways are maintained and major bridges along them are maintained. But we don't give any money to speak of to the railroads. And so, whereas you have a lot of travel by rail, we do not subsidize them. And there's very little amount of passenger rail travel. Only on the East Coast and a little bit on the West Coast, but mainly it's one of the reasons why we have a car culture.
Now, is Amtrak, is that not any longer a governmental operation?
The amount of money that Amtrak gets is very limited.
Amtrak is one of our large rail companies.
It has been held up, supported by the federal government some of the time, but it's opposed by, again, big money. and this would be the car manufacturers. Oppose subsidies for the railways. And as far as the air travel, that is subsidized in some ways. Air travel is subsidized in terms of air traffic controllers. The people who make sure that for busy airports the planes don't collide. That's sort of a survival subsidy, I think. And we did have a disastrous time under Ronald Reagan during his presidency. The air traffic controllers went on strike, and he shut down the strike. And we did without air controllers for a while, and it was a terrible mess. But that's in the distant past, and as you might guess, Reagan was a Republican. I really bit my tongue and tried not to say stupid Republican, and I almost did that. But, I have one other topic that I wanted to propose to you, and so can you see the cartoon? The tab goes 120806. Can you all see that cartoon?
Yes.
Okay. So, Vlad, can you read this, please? Read the caption on the cartoon.
Yeah. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state, we need cheap, available band guns.
Okay, so, and what do you see in the picture? What can you tell us about the context of that statement? What's the time frame?
It's about two centuries ago.
Okay. And you know that because what are the visual clues you get out of the cartoon?
Because dress.
Yes.
What people wear. Buildings, streets, horses on the streets.
And yes, that's good. Is the street paved?
Yeah.
And how do you know that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's paved with cobblestones.
Yeah.
Paved, it's to make a surface.
Yes. And
cobblestone.
And now our roads are made of asphalt or cement, not cobblestones.
No, cement not used in the road. You understand?
Okay, so now let's talk about the language Dima, can you see anything there in the language that seems at all familiar to you?
No, I understand what they are thinking about. So probably we are speaking about the security of the security of the state, and it's probably shows that they need security for free state, but now they are not a free state, so they don't need a well-regulated militia for the security.
And where does this phrase well-regulated militia come from? Does it sound like something that Professor Marston or Professor Smith would say on a regular basis? Professor Marston, do you have a well-regulated militia in Iowa?
No, I don't think we do. They're kind of wild hairs up here.
It actually comes from
a document that you have looked at, we hope, recently.
Yes.
What might that document be? No clue? This is the language from the Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights.
The Second Amendment. The right to bear arms. Now, it is all of this statement is not from the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state is language from the Second Amendment. And if I read that, I recognize that language